Hi everyone. In this video, let us learn about one interview question that is asked in one product-based company. The question is how to delay database connection setup till first API request is received. The answer is using the @lazy annotations. So there are two approaches to achieve this functionality. So the approach one is making all beans lazy by declaring this spring.main.lazy initialization equal to true application.properties or application.yaml file. So this will make all the beans to be initialized when they are really used in the application. So but this will make all the beans lazy, so this may not be the answer to this question. So the answer is we need to make database connection related beans only. So for that purpose, what we normally do in real applications, we manually create the data source object in order to set the how many number of thread pool connections we have to pass all those connections. We may use the Hickory config, and during this data source object creation method, on top of this method we can use this @lazy annotation. So this @lazy annotation, it will defer this data source object creation when we receive the first API request. And within this file, if you have other entity manager creation for those beans also, we can annotate those methods with this @lazy annotation. So after you explained this one, so you may get a follow-up question. Explain how this @lazy annotation works in the application, how Spring Framework treats this annotation. So for that purpose, we need to explain in detail. So this whenever Spring Framework sees this annotation, what it does is it delays the initialization of bin until it is actually needed. By default, Spring Framework, what it does, it will create all the bins and singleton object. It will create during the application startup, right? But if it encounters this @lazy annotation, it won't create that particular bin. So what is the advantage we get is with the deferring the bin creation can improve the startup time. So if some bins, if there is heavy logic, so we can improve the application startup time, and also will reduce the memory usage, and unnecessary instantiation of the bins we can avoid. So what it does is this internal execution is by default Spring creates singleton bins, right, eagerly during the application startup. When it encounters lazy annotation, it will postpone that be a particular bin creation. So with this example, we can see we are creating one my heavy bin here annotated with lazy, and in some component, if we are referring with the AutoWide, here also we will annotate with @lazy. So when it encounters this bin, what it does is instead of creating the first step here, when it encounters for this bin, what it does is it will postpone. Spring doesn't create the my heavy bin, and what it does is it will set one property, that is set lazy equal to true, and it won't create that object. And here since this my service is not a lazy one, it has to create this my service object. For that one, what it does is in place of a real object for my heavy bin, Spring will inject one proxy object in place of this one, and whenever we call some method of heavy bin, at that time what Spring does is it will follow the this particular steps. So it will look up the bin definition and see it is not created, and it will create the actual object at that time, and this proxy reference will be replaced with the real object. So that's how it works. So if you annotate @bin and with the @lazy, bin is created only when it is first used. And if you apply @lazy annotation on top of a class of if there are 5 bin definitions, this @lazy annotation apply for all the bins declared inside that class. And if you declare at lazy on particular reference variable, Spring injects a proxy and that particular class bin is created on first axis. And if you declare this property spring.main.lazy initialization equal to true, it will make all bins as lazy. So that's all for today's video. This is about the at lazy annotation, how it works.